In any case, after intention comes sidq, truthfulness. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala praises truthfulness in the Quran. Kunu ma'as sadiqeen. Be with the truthful one, which is a command. Min al-mu'mineen rijalun sadaqu ma ahadullah alayh. And from the believers are people who are truthful to the pledge that they made with Allah. In fact, Imam Hussein recited this verse at the body of Habib ibn Mawahir as he breathed his last. Allah says about Ibrahim that we gave him a tongue of the righteous ones, the sadiqeen, the truthful ones. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He praises the praiseworthy souls, He says they are with the prophets, with the martyrs, and with the truthful ones. This is the value of being truthful. Another part, an essential factor of the beginning of the journey is that the wayfarer commits himself and resolves that he will become truthful. And truthfulness has to become a disposition of the soul. When we say disposition of the soul, what we mean is that it becomes an inseparable part, an integral part, an inextricable part of the human soul. That the human soul is identified with truthfulness, that even if the person wants to be other than truthful, they cannot. To arrive at the level of truthfulness, to that extent, that the person is marked and its identity is identified with truthfulness. In accordance with the hadith, it is said that if you were to distinguish things accurately, you will find truthfulness with bravery and cowardliness with falsehood and lies. Now, this makes perfect sense. At this point in time, without embarking on the spiritual journey of liberation through Allah in disclosure of the beauty of God within our souls, what we find is that many a times we are in a very delusionary and a deceptive world. And this deceptive world is overpowering, alluring, to the extent that we do not even know that we are in a deceptive world. Or as the Master said, that we are actors on the stage of this world. The truth of life is, though, that we, in this life of ours, live up to the expectations, the social expectations of our surrounding and those around us. But we forget that the personalities that we are portraying are not really us. We are acting a role, but the only difference is that the actor forgets that he or she is acting. They become the act and the actor. And that is why the Prophet says, "An-nasu niyamin matu intabahu," that people are asleep. When they die, they awaken. At that point, they realize that, oh my goodness, I wasn't there at all. Until truthfulness dawns upon us, we do not awaken. And until and unless we awaken, we cannot begin to embark on this journey. For this is not a physical journey in which we can be absent and still be journeying. This is the journey of the human consciousness. We have to be aware that I'm moving, that I am. So truthful requires brutal honesty. The hadith says, be truthful even if it means that you are burnt at the stake. Even if it means that you are sawn off, you limb by limb. Even if it means incurring huge losses, be truthful. Because truthfulness brings about the real birth of the real human. We might find grown human beings, but the real human is yet to take birth. Hazrat Luqman was passing through a graveyard, and he began to notice the ages of the inhabitants of the graveyard. And he found that majority of the people had died under the age of 10. Some at 2, some at 1, some at 3, some at 4, some at 5, and the most anybody lived was 10. He went to the nearby village whose graveyard it was, and he inquired. He said, did an epidemic fall upon this village that took away its children? They said, no, not at all. He said, then why is it that your gravestones bear witness to such tender ages? They said, Luqman, but they were grown men of 50, 70, 80. Luqman said, then why is this age not reflected upon their headstones? They said, because The only ages we have recorded are the ages in which they awoke to the truth prior to their deaths. For those are the only years in which they actually lived. Otherwise, as the Quran says, they have ears with which they hear not, eyes with which they see not, mind or heart with which they reflect not. They are like the cattle, nay, astray still.